Hello, Facebook. We're live. This is Christy McMaster from Soulful Leadership and
Marcus from Savvy Solutions.
And we're just kicking off a day of planning for a very cool workshop that we've got coming up next Wednesday, which I'm sure if you've been following our posts, you'll know all about. And if you don't, then jump on our pages and find out about them. But anyway, we were halfway through a conversation about the golden rule. And Marcus was just starting to drop some gold himself. And I paused him and said, stop, wait. I just want to really share this information with our tribe because I think it would be so valuable to you guys. I was just listening intently and thought, hang on a minute, that's selfish. Don't keep that all to yourself. So we're here sharing it.
By the way, good day, Aaron. It's nice to have you along on the call.
Hi.
Keep watching, and if you've got any questions, just throw them up in the comments and we'll answer them. So we can actually tailor this conversation specifically for you. So throw up some comments. But Chuck will be very happy with you if you watch the rest of this live stream. I can promise you that much.
So anyway, the question that I was asking Marcus is around this golden rule that we're all taught to live by. You know, from a very, very young age, we're taught to, treat others as we would like to be treated. And Marcus, we know through planning for the workshops that we run that the golden rule as it stands and as we are taught can often harm us in life.
Yes.
And it's the light bulb that comes on when you recognize that by switching out one word in the golden rule, it changes your entire perspective on it and changes your results in business and in life. And I was asking you, what impact did it have on your business and even in your life when you recognized that the golden rule, as it's taught to many of us, is actually slightly incorrect? That one word that just gives it a different meaning.
Yes, it may only be one word, but it makes a massive difference. Yeah. Massive difference. And honestly, just right now, I'm getting massive goosebumps. Yeah. Just I've got them. Can you see that?
Yeah.
All through. Because I'm remembering back, I was sitting in a training, and for those on the call who know this trainer, it was a training with Joe Pane, and he was talking about this golden rule and how in 75% of our conversations with our loved ones, with our sales prospects, with the people we're trying to lead. So the workshop we're doing is on sales and leadership, but it also applies to, you managing your children and, anything like that. And so Joe was talking about this golden rule, which everyone in the room, there was about 120 people in the room, everyone bought in. So he said, who believes in the golden rule? Everyone said they believed in it and lived their life to it. Everyone, not a single person didn't put their hand up. But
for those on the call, there's a few people there, type in the comments, what is the golden rule? Like, what's the golden rule that we're talking about? Because sometimes writing it out can make it really clear for you. So what is the golden rule that you have been taught to live? And then we're going to deconstruct that a little bit next Wednesday. But today we're going to share with you the change in results that Marcus has seen in his life. And I'll share mine another time. They're significant by changing out just one word in the golden rule and giving it a whole new meaning.
Yeah, that's right. It's like an 8-9 word rule. Yeah. And one word gets changed. And with that, 100% of the meaning gets changed. G'day, Kathy. It's lovely to have you along. And Kathy, Christy, is in sales and travel and so forth.
Awesome.
So, Kathy, if anyone could, maybe secure that $3,000, Greece overseas holiday. P.S. Kathy, I need to speak to you about a Greece overseas holiday in May. This could really help you. So it's one word. And it makes all the difference. And so I was sitting in this training with Joe Pane, and he said, so everyone bought into the golden rule and said they live their life by it. And he said, guess what? In 75% of your interactions, it's costing you to adhere to it. 75%. The golden rule is effective 25% of the time in a really powerful way. And it will completely cost you and hinder your sales results and your leadership results in a very strong way.
Yeah, and where it's effective is where you're looking at morals and things like that. So morally, the golden rule is a really great rule of thumb. When you're thinking about, how to act in certain scenarios, do you have someone's best interests at heart and all of that sort of stuff. With that application, it is effective. But if you're using it in one-to-one
it's completely flawed. It's completely flawed. It's wonderful in principle and completely flawed as a way of doing sales, as a way of doing leadership, as a way of even interacting and trying to generate behavioural change on any level.
And with, like, both of our partners, we're always talking about, you know, the benefit of just understanding now the new golden rule, and not the golden rule as we were taught, has transformed each of our interactions with our respective partners, which is really cool.
Good, hey, Stephanie Beitzel's joined us on the call.
Hi.
You met Stephanie at the networking event the other day.
Excellent.
Hey, Stephanie, we're talking about the golden rule and how it will hinder, harm, get in the road of performance in 75% of cases. How it's powerful, wonderful, and enriching of performance in 25% of the cases.
Yeah.
But this golden rule will harm and hinder your performance in 75% of cases. It's so crucial to get this information out there, Christy, because again, in this training, 110 people in the room, who adheres to the golden rule? Everybody. Yeah. So don't cost yourself in 75% of the cases. Guys, give us some likes, give us some loves. Megan, thank you for joining us as well. And if you've got some questions, throw them up in the comments, and we can tailor this for you.
Yeah.
So you asked me earlier, what did I notice when I switched this one word? And I could talk results, and for the D energies on the call, they're thinking, well, what's the results of changing the golden rule? Damn it.
That was my reason for asking
That's
him.
it. And I'll get to that in a sec. What I want to talk first is the kinesthetic.
All right.
To all the S's out there.
I'll drink my coffee while I do that.
The first thing I noticed when I switched out this one word and flipped the entire rule on its head was a massive reduction in frustration. A huge reduction in frustration. As a sales professional, I was finding that I was having massive traction. So I sold new homes for 6 years. Now that's about a $350 to $550, sometimes up to $1 million purchase. And so the commissions on that were huge.
Yeah.
And I was commission only. So if I made the sale, I had an incredibly lucrative week. If I didn't make the sale, I went home to the nest with the inside of a donut. You know, as a hunter and gatherer, I was coming home with nothing.
Yeah.
And so it was massive for me to tighten up my game.
Yeah.
And I was noticing that with 25% of the people, huge traction, instant results. I knew they were going to be my buyer from the first word. With 75% of the people, completely mixed results. Sometimes I was hitting the mark, sometimes I was missing the mark.
Yeah.
So fast forward 6 years to me sitting inside that training and hearing this one word switch out and flipping the golden rule on its head. And I went back in hindsight and went, holy bejesus, I just worked out why I was missing the mark with 75% of the clients and getting moderate results there. Masterful results, 25%.
Anyone's looking for a business idea, a time machine, if you can invent a time machine, help Marcus go back in time and start closing the extra 75% of sales, I'm sure he'd share the commissions with you.
Absolutely. Jasmine Ann Purcell, it's wonderful to see you on the call with us. It's so fantastic. Give us some likes, give us some love. Let us know that you can hear us and put up some comments. Christy and I are happy. If we're here for another hour, that's all good. We will tailor this for you. We will provide you with as much value on today's call as we can.
Yeah.
So... looking at the clock. That's a bit.
I'm like, sorry, dude, we can't be here for an hour. We've got to meet somebody.
That's right.
At 10 o'clock,
Yeah, so. Excellent. But we will provide you with much value. Is the point. So put some comments in. Make this work for you.
So Marcus, back to the question. So we were discussing the golden rule.
Yes.
And we were discussing the fact that as we are taught the golden rule growing up, it seems great in theory, but in practice and in business, even in life, 75% of the time it's actually ineffective.
Yes.
And it's not even neutral. It is ineffective. It's harming us.
Yep.
It's harming our relationships, and it's harming our business.
Yep.
And I was really curious to know, when you learnt how to switch out that one word that changes 100% of the meaning, what changed for you? And you started off by saying that you instantly had a reduction in frustration.
Instantly, overnight. Like not I worked on it for 21 days and changed the habit. No. Instantly, finger click instantly. Frustration went from like quite high because I'm so competitive to virtually non-existent.
Okay, awesome. So what else? What other...
So the other thing was, results-wise, 25% of the quadrant of human behaviour, I was converting 4 out of 5 buyers. So again, I'll use my example as a new home salesman. And Jasmine, thanks so much for your question. I'll get to that in about 1 minute. So 25% of the quadrant, I was noticing I was closing 4 out of 5 buyers. 4 out of 5. phenomenal.
Yeah.
75% of the quadrant, I was closing about 1 out of 5. What happened when I flipped this golden rule on its head is the 75% of people I'd previously been repelling by accident, I ended up closing around 3 out of 5 of those. So I had a 4 out of 5 ratio in my home quadrant, if you like, and then I got a 3 out of 5 ratio in my in the quadrant that was previously getting dismal results for me. So less frustration, and a lot more value. What's Jasmine asked there?
So Tracy asked me. I've got no glasses on. Okay. Jasmine has missed what the golden rule was. Yeah.
So Jasmine, what we're talking about is we get raised in church and home and everything is to treat others as you would like to be treated.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenal mantra. It is incredibly harmful when it comes to being effective in sales and leadership.
Yeah.
And what we've found is that you can change one word, just one.
Yeah.
And your results for 75% of the situations will be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Can I explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
is that all right with you guys? We're chatting to ourselves here and
absolutely.
We're happy, but let us know if you're happy, if this is resonating.
And lovely to see you on the call. Give us some likes, give us some loves, let us know you can hear us, and make sure you tailor this call to you. Make sure you come in with some questions as Jasmine has just done.
Yeah.
So Jasmine just asked, what is the golden rule? We've explained that. So why does it harm you in 75% of the cases? The reason is there are 4 quadrants of human behaviour, okay? And yes, please. There are 4 quadrants of human behaviour. And when we treat others as we would like to be treated, the quadrant that we belong to will love us, will feel known, respected and appreciated and valued by us. And when people start feeling these things, they want to do business with us.
Yeah.
They gravitate to us. It's the law of attraction. Their body is chock full of the same energy as our body, and they find themselves magnetising to us.
Yeah.
They want to do business with us. They're looking for an excuse to say, yes, please.
Yeah.
But when we treat others as we would like to be treated, because we only belong to one quadrant, the other 3 quadrants aren't being treated as they would like to be treated.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not. So their needs are going unmet, and they're not relating to you. Michelle Rademacher.
Hey! Hey, Michelle.
Lovely to have you on the call, Michelle. Give us some comments. And that would be absolutely sensational to get some comments from you.
Yeah.
We're talking about the workshop we've got coming up. And one of the things that we're going to be covering is this golden rule. So when you treat others as you would like to be treated, it is so flawed.
Yeah.
Because 25% of the people are going to love you, relate to you, feel known, respected and appreciated by you.
Yeah.
75% of the people you are going to miss the mark with. They're just not going to quite get it. And this happens on an unconscious level. As I always say, the human psyche is like an iceberg. 5% sits above the water in the conscious mind. 95% lives below the water in the unconscious mind, just like an iceberg. Yeah. And unconsciously, when you're just talking to someone and treating them as you would like to be treated, and therefore not treating them as they would like to be treated, it's not a conscious process, but there's something about that interaction that they walk away from, and it's
yeah, and it can be such a massive source of frustration, because if other people, there can be differences in pace, in motivation, drivers, all of that sort of stuff. And if you're having a conversation with somebody that's based around what drives you, so for me, that's results, action, enthusiasm. And if I'm speaking to someone who values the status quo, collaboration, all of that sort of stuff, you're just going to have this mismatch, because you're in it to get the result and the other person's in it for the collaboration and the teamwork, and there can be massive gaps there. But when you can understand, okay, hang on a minute, I would like to be spoken to and treated in terms of energy, results, action. But if I'm just taking only that lens to other people, then I'm going to miss the mark with them, because some people, that's just not what drives them. And if I assume that is what drives them because that's what drives me, then that's where, that's the 75% of situations where you're going to miss the mark, because you've not hit their drivers on the head.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, Christy, Matthew Denning has just joined us.
Hey, Matthew.
If ever there was a gun salesman, it's this gentleman here.
Okay.
Yeah, used to sell homes for Simmons, and boy, did that man sell a lot of homes. There's a lot of people living in homes thanks to this man.
Good.
So, Matt, if you've got any questions, just give us a hoy, because we're happy to customise this to you. And Emma Woolwich has just joined us as well. So thank you, Emma, for coming along on the call. So we're talking about the golden rule, how it's incredibly harmful, and how it will really have a consequence in your interactions. You will be dynamic and appealing to 25% of the market. You will repel to varying degrees, sometimes strongly repel and sometimes gently repel the other 75%. It's completely flawed, and if you've never thought about it before, this can be a revelation to you. This changed my business overnight because, again, I was already closing 4 out of 5 people in 25% of the quadrant, in one quadrant, and I was failing to close well and only getting about 1 in 5 in the other 3 quadrants. Yeah, as soon as I changed out one word of the golden rule, then I started to have 4 out of 5 closing ratio in my ideal quadrant and a 3 out of 5 closing ratio in the other 3.
Yeah, awesome. And we were discussing earlier that just by changing one word in the golden rule, which of course we all know is to treat others as you would like to be treated, you change out one word and it changes 100% of the meaning. So we're all wandering around in life with the best intentions, following this golden rule, which is to treat others as you would like to be treated. 25% of the time it's working for us. 75% of the time we're inadvertently pissing people off or totally missing the mark with them, with their best interests at heart, but just not understanding.
Yeah, it's a well-intended philosophy, but it's completely flawed in terms of getting results.
Yeah.
Daniel Elias has just joined us.
Hey, Dan! How are you, dude?
Yeah, if you want a great personal training, head down to Step Into Life at Belmont.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been down and he put me through my paces.
So, Daniel, if you've got any questions, just sing out. So, okay, so we now know that you switch out the word you and you pop in the word in capital letters they. So the golden rule, treat others as you would like to be treated, out the window. Treat others as they would like to be treated. Okay, cool. So we've established that. That's all well and good, but how do you know how they would like to be treated?
Yeah, that's right, because you've only got your own lens, right? Like we all walk around approaching life from our own perspective, looking through our own eyes, processing things the way our brain likes them to be processed. But there's a massive gap there with about 75% of the people that you're coming across. So how do you know what their lens is? How do you know what their drivers are? How do you know what motivates them, what hooks them in, what causes them to get out of bed in the morning and go to work? And, you know, because for me, it's energy, results, action, enthusiasm. But for some other people...
But for me, describe mine.
Okay, so for Marcus, it's collaboration and teamwork and... connection, warmth, all of that sort of stuff. So you should observe some of the conversations between Marcus and I.
So, you know, if Christy's coming at me from, Christy, my dear friend James Crook, his lovely wife Alicia's joined us on the call.
Hey, Alicia, I've heard all about you from M Townsend. She's a raving fan of yours. So hopefully you and I will meet in person sometime soon.
Great to have you along, Alicia. Now, guys, there's 8 of you on the call now, so just hit us up with some comments. Make sure we can tailor this content for you. We're here to serve you. This is not for us. So if you interact with us, then we can tailor it for you. Travis Smith. From Ray White Real Estate up in Drysdale. Fantastic salesman himself.
Hey, Travis, welcome.
Travis, we'd love to hear your insights on this. So we're talking about the golden rule, how flawed it is. You'll appeal to 25% of the people. You'll repel to varying degrees the other 75%. And Christy just explained, she's very results driven. She's very focused. It's all about high level energy. That's what appeals to her. Me, for example, when I'm looking to buy with someone, the things that are going to draw me in is connection, warmth, collaboration. And so if Christy, for example, was treating me as, with the golden rule, treat others as I would like to be treated, she's going to repel me. I'm not going to find that appealing at all. I'm actually going to start leaning away. Now, with sales are made in the match. As we close the gap, we close the sale. So if Christy just chooses to treat me as she would like to be treated, and I start leaning away, and of course, energetically I'm not talking physiology, but energetically I start leaning away.
And so what's the natural response, right? I come at him with even more of what I want.
Yeah.
I treat him even more like I would want to be treated and think, oh, maybe he's not happy with the results that I've highlighted so far. Let me go into more detail about those results, or show him, different results, or I just keep coming at it through my own lens and keep repelling him further and further away.
Yeah, whereas if Christy knows how I like to be treated, she then knows it's human behavioural science, guys. Sales isn't about techniques so much as it is about understanding human behavioural science.
Yeah.
Mario Vinci, one of my first clients, so fantastic to have you on the call, brother. I hope you get some phenomenal value. So Christy's going to start leaning in. So if you want to do this, so energetically, and I'm going to start leaning away. And if sales are made in the match, and as you close the gap, you close the sale, she's actually creating this sale to not happen.
Yeah.
Whereas if she's got the human behavioural science understanding behind it, and she knows the tone that I like to be communicated in, the words that are my key drivers that are going to elicit a buying response in me, and she knows the phrasing, and she knows the energy, and she knows the key components of it, then all of a sudden she's going to know exactly how to communicate to me to have me leaning in. Yeah. And as you close the gap, you close the sale.
And if we didn't know this stuff about the golden rule and how by changing out one word in the golden rule it changes 100% of the meaning, if we didn't know that, and we have quite different behavioural styles. There is some overlap in one of the quadrants, but primarily we're driven by two fairly different things. And we would not be able to work together. We would not be able to have this joint venture that we have, because if we just kept coming at it the way that we wanted to come at it, we would constantly, when magnets are facing the wrong way and it creates that repulsion.
That polarity.
Yeah, the polarity. That's what would happen. We simply would not be able to collaborate the way we do. But because we both understand this new golden rule, and we understand how each of the behaviour styles like to be treated, we're able to bring that to the table. And then the other thing that comes into the equation is the energy. So it actually doesn't cost me any energy to treat other people how I would like to be treated, because it comes naturally to me. It's my autopilot. It energizes me. It energizes me to have conversations about results, action, enthusiasm, all of that sort of stuff. But it can be quite draining for me when I have to be constantly adapting my style to treat others how they would like to be treated. And so your own energy comes into the equation, and looking at, right, what are you doing to maintain your personal energy so that you can treat others as they would like to be treated from a place of authenticity, and you're not draining yourself. Because obviously in business, you want to keep the well full to overflowing. And so that's another part of the equation. And to recognize, if there's been a lot of giving and a lot of treating others as they would like to be treated, what are you doing to fill your own well? Because, it's just a really critical part of human behavioural science. And you can either be drained because you're frustrated because you don't understand why people aren't doing business with you, or you can be drained by being very intentional, and you close the business and then you go refresh the well, and it's all very intentional. Yeah,
absolutely. It allows you to live your life on purpose. As opposed to just by accident. So it's fantastic. So there's a gifting here. It's about if we buy in, and I trust you will have by now, and if you haven't, I'd suggest you to really ponder it. If you buy into the idea that it's not about treating others as we would like to be treated, it's about treating them as they would like to be treated, all well and good. But you need to back that up with knowing, how do I work out which quadrant my buyer is from? How do I work out which quadrant my child is from? How do I work out which quadrant my staff member who I'm trying to lead is from? And once I know which quadrant they belong to, how do I know how that quadrant likes to be communicated to in order to feel valued, appreciated, respected, and known? Because the key thing is, once you feel valued, you'll feel respected. Once you feel respected, you'll feel appreciated. And once you feel appreciated, you'll feel known. And if we feel like someone knows us, we trust them. Boom. What's the thing that happens before buying? Trust. So it's about building those, so it's reverse engineering it. I want them to say yes to my product or service. In order to do that, they need to trust me. And in order to trust me, it's about first feeling valued, appreciated, and respected, and known.
And if you're having conversations with someone and you're wanting them to do something, and you're just focusing on the task that you want done, and you're getting massive resistance back on that, then you're probably communicating it in a way that works for you, but you're missing the mark with them. And we've had plenty of conversations like that. Yeah, Marcus is laughing. He's like, hell yeah.
We've butted heads a few times.
Yeah, believe it or not, it happens. And it has to happen in business. But the question is, do you have a depth of understanding that allows you to butt heads, resolve the issue, and move forward with volition? Or do you just get stuck and you just don't know how to move past these challenges that you're having? Because challenges and butting heads, that's just a daily occurrence in business.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, we're not talking a shade of grey here. The way the quadrants like to be communicated to is vastly different.
It is.
Vastly.
Yeah.
Vastly. If I am talking to you and you are what we call a D energy, and I'm talking to you the way that an S energy likes to be communicated to, I will repel you and do it significantly.
Yeah.
You will think that I am weak.
Yeah.
You will think that I'm tepid. You will think that I am lacking in character.
Yeah.
Now, if I communicate to you and you're an S energy and I communicate to you the way the D energy like to be communicated to, you will think that I'm a bully, arrogant, aggressive, blunt, terse.
Yeah.
Now, the way that we can communicate can be completely flexible whilst remaining authentic.
That's right.
So why on earth wouldn't you communicate to the person the way they like to be communicated to?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the answer is you wouldn't, but you need to know. You need to know this stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, to recap, have to set up for a session. Okay, cool. Thanks, Dan. To recap, we're talking about the golden rule. The golden rule that we're all raised on, which is obviously to treat others as
you would like to be treated.
Okay, but there's one word in there that makes that entire equation completely flawed when it comes to
75%.
Success. Yep, success, results, connection in 75% of your audience. And by changing out that one word, you change 100% of the meaning. And all of a sudden now, for those 75% of people that you've probably been repelling accidentally, you've now got the frame of mind to start learning how they would like to be treated. And then you can gather the tools, the knowledge, the education to start treating them how they would like to be treated. And Marcus, you said in your business that had a dramatic increase in your results.
Yeah, you're always going to close more strongly to your pet quadrant.
Yeah.
But the gap between closing to your pet quadrant and the other 75% can be very small. So for me, even now, my closing rate is about 4 out of 5 in my pet quadrant. Yeah. But it's at least 3 out of 5 in other 3 as well.
Yeah. And before you knew this, what would it have been in the other 3?
In the other 3, it would have been 1 out of 5 if I was lucky.
Yeah, okay.
1 out of 5 if I was lucky. And most of them were just a complete disconnect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's from a results perspective. And what about from, like how that left you feeling about yourself, about your business?
Yeah. Confusion leads to frustration.
Yeah.
And so when sometimes you are powerfully effective and other times you are just missing the mark and you're the same you, if you don't have the education around it, that is so confusing, right? And so when we're at a heightened level of confusion, we're at a heightened level of frustration.
Yeah.
And so living life in a massively frustrated way sucks. And so that's the best thing kinesthetically is that easing of frustration. Now, Christy, some of the folks possibly have to go. We had a workshop. We have a workshop, and we had 20 tickets, and they all went.
Yes.
And I think then we moved into a bigger venue.
Yes.
And we had a flood of bookings overnight. So I think we're up to about 25 people in the room. Is that right? Something like that. Yep. How many can the room take? And is there any tickets left if anyone is watching this and wants to come along?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've secured the top floor at the brand new Geelong Library and Heritage Centre, which I'm super excited about. I've wanted to train there for ages, but it either hasn't been available or we haven't had the numbers. So we're so blessed this time around that the venue is available, and we've got a room full of really very high quality people, and I'm really serious about that. Like I'm really pleased with the people that are coming along. And so what that means is we've got space probably for 2 more tables to be set up. So that's another 6 to 12 people. So we've got room for 6 to 12 more. It's going to be a really high quality event. Like we're here putting the final touches on it today, and we're just so excited about the atmosphere, the environment, the connections that people are going to make. Bring your business cards, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because the people in the room are people that you're going to want to get to know and network with and have in your Rolodex. So bring your business cards.
Rolodex.
Oh, well,
Who uses a Rolodex?
Well, I've got a business card little box that I look people up in. Shut up. Anyhow, as I was saying, high quality room, bring your business cards, get ready to connect and expand your network with high quality people. Maybe you don't have a Rolodex, maybe you're just going to snap a picture of their card and put them in your phone, whatever. Anyway, it's going to be an awesome event. The content is killer. We know that. We get that feedback time after time after time. We've delivered it in corporate, public, entrepreneurs, right across the board. It's killer content, so there's not even a question about that. Really, it's about the fact that it's going to be a room of high quality people in a shit hot venue. I'm just really excited about
the venue's awesome. If you've seen this venue, it is absolutely stunning. Going to be great. Going to be a great environment. High quality people, sensational venue, content that'll elevate your results massively. You can't get better than that.
Yeah, so 6 to 10 bookings will be closing on Tuesday because we've got to get the final numbers to the venue. So just get in now, because as soon as that room is full, it's full, and we're not changing venues again. So jump on. Marcus will post the link in the comments.
And just join 30 other high level sales professionals. Would this event be suitable?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my God. Don't spend 2 years, Jasmine, making the mistakes and losing out on sales that you deserve.
Yeah.
And losing out on the revenue that those sales will generate. And then later, learning this stuff and doing what I did. If you missed the start of the call, I had the biggest forehead slap moment of my life when I looked back in hindsight and noticed, because my average commission in home sales was about $6,000 to $15,000, depending on the size of the home. Yeah. So, and I was commission only. So you either made a ton or you lost a ton. And so when I figured this out and looked back and went, and like just did a brief calculation.
Oh no, that's not even, that's just too much pain.
It was agony. It was agony. So Jasmine, come along. It's $97, and I'm not sure what the size of your product is, but let's say your product is a $60 product. I've got no idea, by the way.
What is your product?
Yeah, let us know what your product. Let us know what your product is. And let's say your product was $60. While we're waiting to hear, I'll just go with that. And let's say that you're currently selling 7 units of that product at the moment. If you come along to this training, I would guarantee you, and if this didn't happen, I would refund you your ticket.
Yeah.
Christy's going, damn it, mate.
No, absolutely.
I would refund your ticket. But if you're selling 6 lots of your product at the moment, I would suggest to you that should go up to about 9 or 10 lots of the product.
Yeah.
So let's say it's a $60 product. You'll make your money back in about a day and a half.
Yeah, and it is, like Marcus was alluding to before, there's no scripts, there's no techniques, there's no kind of stuff that you've got to commit to memory. It's an instant recognition that, and you'll start to feel into it when you're speaking with someone and you get that sense, we're not on the same page. All of a sudden the new golden rule will pop into your head. Which is, I'm treating them as I would want to be treating, and this is clearly not working in this situation. The ability to then pivot instantly. And we had one client in our previous training, our 2-day training or our 1-day training.
Sorry, just pause there. Could you just share with me what the cost of the service is?
A service, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And hi, Tanya, thanks for joining us. We're talking about the golden rule that we're all raised to live by, which is treat others as you would like to be treated. And whilst morally it's a great philosophy, in practice it will destroy your business. If you just go around treating everyone how you want to be treated, you're actually going to be missing the mark with 75%. And not only does it not work, not only does it not serve you, it's actually a disservice. It's actually having the opposite effect. So it's not even neutral, it's repelling 75% of potential clients in your business. And we're just speaking with Jasmine. Yeah. So Jasmine, initial consultation, 99. Oh God, you'll get there.
So okay, let me just put this in the most plain way that I can for you, Jasmine. Workshop equals $97. Consultation equals $99. All that you need to do is make one additional consultation because of what you'll learn, and boom, you're taken care of. And the thing of it is, you'll probably make 1 or 2 extra consultations
maybe
per week.
Even in the room, like in the coffee break.
Per week. So this is something that you need to be at sincerely. If you have to shift a few things around your calendar, I would highly recommend it. Yeah. But where were you going? Because I did interrupt you.
So Tanya, I was just kind of bringing you up to speed because you've missed the first part of the course. So the golden rule. So what we teach is if you change one word in the golden rule, and now instead of treating people as you would like to be treated, you're actually treating them how
they would like to treat it. And I'm just going to interrupt. I just want to. We love rewarding action takers at Savvy and Soulful.
Absolutely.
And Jasmine's just said she's in. So that's fantastic.
Great to see you there, Jasmine.
Great from you. That you're showing us a lot about your behaviour, actually.
Yeah.
And I can pretty much take a stab at which quadrant Jasmine lives in.
Yes. You're probably in there with me.
yeah. So I think you're in Christy's quadrant, which, she's a great lady. So it's a great quadrant to be in. So well done to you. I'll make sure that the link goes up so that you can click through and book in.
Yeah.
So very important. I've interrupted you twice.
You have.
Yes.
But you know what? That's actually cool with me because my behaviour style doesn't mind so much about that.
Whereas I get wounded.
That's right. So I'm all good. Interrupt away. If it's going to get the result that we're after, then I'm all up for interruptions. But I have learnt that my husband, he's in a very different quadrant to me. Same as Marcus, and they don't appreciate the interruptions so much. But how amazing it is that I've got the awareness that when I'm in a conversation with someone in probably either of two quadrants, we can interrupt the hell out of each other and get an amazing result. But then there's two other quadrants, and if I start interrupting, I've literally just damaged that relationship almost forever.
It's interesting because the D quadrant kind of likes the interruptions because they're high-paced, fast, strong, results-focused, action-focused, and when you interrupt them to kind of like move things forward even more, to get the pace happening even more, as I'm doing now, they will notice that in you. They will see you as a leader. They will see you as someone to be valued and respected. And boom, rapport. You close the gap. You close the sale. They are leaning into you now. Now, if you're in the S and C quadrant, which is what you're alluding to before, because the eyes don't mind interruptions either.
No, eyes love interruptions.
Whatevs.
We actually both talk over the top of each other at the same time.
Like my partner and her mother. When those two get together, I'm sure neither of them ever finishes a sentence or even gets close to it. It's hilarious. At any rate, that's just their thing. But the C's and the S's, they don't like interruptions. For them, it's a mark of disrespect.
Yes.
They don't like a fast pace either, PS. And so if you're trying to up-pace the conversation because you just want to get it done or you want to get to the result, you're going to actually make it less likely that you're going to get to the result because they're going to start leaning away because they're going to be perceiving you to be a little bit blunt. And they don't appreciate bluntness. So you've just cost yourself.
And disrespectful. And we know that respect must be in the equation before someone is going to buy from you. Now, what could they be buying? They could be buying a product. They could be buying a service. They could just be buying an idea, right? So when you're having a conversation with someone, whether it's a prospect, a staff member, a manager, a partner, a child, a parent, a friend, to know how they want to be treated and to treat them how they want to be treated as opposed to treating them how you want to be treated, it opens up your entire world to higher quality interactions, higher quality connections, higher quality relationships, and higher quality results. It's just a no-brainer.
And when it comes to pushback, something just came into my space here around pushback. So in business, I had a couple of examples this week, as you know, where I got significant pushback from a prospective client, and I had to work out how to handle this. And the thing of it is, depending on which quadrant they belong to, depends on how I can handle that resistance with grace and in a way that gets me the result that I'm after. So, for example, if a C sort of pushes back at me, in other words, I feel like they're going to go ahead, and just at the time that I think they're going to go ahead, they start bringing up resistance. I actually know I haven't done a good enough job with my data, with my information, with the content that I've shared to date. And so it's like driving a car. I stop looking in my windscreen. I quickly check in my rear view mirror, and I notice that a couple of steps earlier in the sales conversation, I didn't give them what they needed to scratch their itch. So now I'm noticing the resistance, and then I go back and I provide that pillar for them of content around data, stats, and statistics. If the I starts resisting, I know that I haven't made it seem light enough, fun enough, entertaining enough, vibrant enough. If the D starts resisting, I know that I've missed the mark in terms of letting them know what results they're going to get. And if the S starts resisting, I know that I've buggered up sharing the connection and the loyalty and the longevity and the passion for the project. So pushback's going to happen, resistance is going to happen. You're not just going to have 100 buyers all fall down on their back with their paws in the air and go, scratch my belly. It just ain't how life works.
Yeah.
It is in your pet quadrant, by the way.
Yeah.
And that's why we love selling to our pet quadrant. But in the other 75% of cases, you need to have the sensory acuity to notice the pushback, and we'll be teaching that on the day. The whole day is about sensory acuity, by the way, so you'll be able to feel into that. And if you're treating other people as you would like to be treated, you're going to serve the pushback how you like it.
Which is going to repel them even more.
Yeah, so if I'm feeling resistance and I'm on the cusp of making a buying decision and I'm just starting to get a bit iffy, if the salesperson was to ramp up the connection, was to ramp up a feeling of warmth and bigger picture and the why of why we're doing it, he's gonna get me out of that 50-50 state. He or she. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But again, if I was a D energy and I was starting to feel a bit of resistance and the salesperson started ramping up the connection, the why, I'm going to go from 50-50 to get the
out of there.
Yeah. So
yeah. And it's interesting. We had some discussions with some of our clients in one of the quadrants who were saying that sometimes, let's say they've done their research already and they walk into the store and they're ready to make the sale, okay? And that salesperson, all they need to do is read the style, read what quadrant they're in, and just freaking close the sale. Because that person's already done their research. They're ready to buy. And more often than not, I guess in 75% of cases, the salesperson, because they're treating the prospect how they would like to be treated, they undo the sale.
Yeah.
It was like a guaranteed sale. And because they're not just reading the client and just closing that baby, they undo the sale by trying to be the different quadrants, and the D just like backs the hell out of there and goes into the next store where the person just gets it, probably because they happen to be the same style. And they close the sale.
I want to share just a real quick story on this, and then perhaps we'll look to wrap up because we do have another appointment to go to at 10 o'clock. Someone I know, a very powerful businesswoman, incredibly wealthy, and good day, Kathy. Excellent. More info on the sessions. You can email me some details. Absolutely, Kathy. Happy to do that. I'll send it through on PM. Okay, and we'll get that done. Make sure you're taken care of. Have a fantastic rest of the day.
Thanks.
So I'll just close. We'll just close with the story. Chris and I got to go. You guys got to go. This is a true story. Very powerful businesswoman. Very wealthy. A DI. So
you'll learn what that means.
You'll learn what that means. She had accompanied her husband to buy a car.
Oh, yeah.
This is a 100% true story. Yeah. It's going to sound made up. It's just 100% true. She had accompanied her husband to buy a car. She didn't want to buy a car. She had no interest in buying a car. Her husband wanted to buy a car. She just happened to be, they were on an outing on a Saturday, whatnot. So she accompanied him to the car yard to buy a car. As he was talking to the car salesman about the Mercedes that he was going to buy, so when I make decisions rashly and impulsively, and just as I'm telling the story, can you have a read of Tanya's comment so we can take care of Tanya?
Sorry, like you get a real close up of me because I don't have my glasses.
So I's are incredibly impulsive, D's are incredibly decisive, and as she was standing there waiting for the husband, she just happened to look across and she saw a Mercedes, and it just happened that Mercedes had, how like car dealers every 3 years kind of change the design language of the car?
Oh, yeah.
The latest design language had come, and so the Mercedes, just the way that it had been reshaped and so forth, just really just rang her bells, just triggered her in a really positive way.
Yeah.
And she's just gone, fucking, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
She made her decision on the spot. That's what D's and I's do.
Yeah.
Now, she didn't need to know about the newton meters of torque. She didn't need to know about the kilowatts of revs, kilowatts of power, rather.
Would have wanted to know that, right?
Would have wanted to know all that. She didn't want to know any of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so she went up to the car fellow, and the car fellow kind of just said, you're waiting for your husband. Would you like me to make you a coffee? And so he already made a mistake. He assumed that she was just he made some stereotypes around sex, I reckon, probably, and gender and so forth.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm not here for a coffee. And again, that's how Dee's going to find that a bit offensive. She's like, I'm not here for a coffee. I just want to talk about buying that car. The sales guy because he's been trained that, content is the way to sell and so forth, he started going on about the Newton meters of torque, the kilowatts of power and all this sort of stuff. As he's doing that, she's starting to glaze over. The kinesthetic in her is dying down and numbing up, and her desire to buy the car is starting to lessen. Then he starts going on about a test drive. Now, in 90% of the cases, that would be cool. This lady didn't want to test drive.
Yeah.
She enjoyed the power of the moment, about having the wealth, having the dominance to be able to say, that's what I want to do. Now, if you listen to the call, you could listen to the story about this lady and go, she sounds like a bit of a hard ass. She's a hard ass. But some people, particularly people that live in that quadrant, are.
Yeah.
And as a salesperson, it's not for you to judge.
That's
not for you to label. It's for you to notice.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I know who I've got in front of me. And so the correct response from that salesperson, believe it or not, was simply as complex as saying, fantastic to hear, madam. Let's go ahead and just get some bits and pieces talked about. You never say paperwork, by the way. It actually triggers something in the reptilian brain. So it's just, let's get some bits and pieces sorted and decide on the colour that you want.
Yep.
That's all he had to say.
Yep. And like Tanya's just written there, that Tanya had walked out of a store due to a salesperson ignoring her, and she was ready to buy. That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
And then did you say that she went and bought it from a different...
Yeah, she'd fallen in love with the car, and she'd also gotten pissed off with this dude. So what she did, she just went to a different Mercedes dealer, because they're up in Melbourne, they're a dime a dozen, and just bought said car from just a different dude.
Yeah, so imagine the commission that he lost on that car because he didn't understand that he needed to treat her as she wanted to be treated.
It was it was like the new SL 500, so I think that, I don't know, I could be wrong, I think they're like a couple $100,000.
I don't know anything about cars.
Right, yeah, I think they're like $200,000, so,
Okay.
I can only imagine the heartbreaking commission. Like, she wouldn't have negotiated to bargain him down either, because that map is like, fuck, I'll pay full price.
Yeah.
No one tells me that I don't need a discount, so, he's just cost himself a very big commission.
Yeah, okay guys, so we're going to wrap up now. So anyway, what we've been speaking about is the golden rule: treat others as you would be treated, as you would like to be treated, and the fact that morally and philosophically that's lovely, but in practice it will harm you at least 75% of the time.
Yep.
Because not everybody's like you. Not everybody likes to be treated how you like to be treated. So what you need to understand is to treat others how they would like to be treated. That's the new golden rule. And then how do you know how they want to be treated? Well, you learn how to apply the behavioural code. And next Wednesday, we're going to be talking more about that. We're going to be going into a lot more detail. We're going to be giving you a chance to feel into it, maybe have a little bit of a practice.
Yep.
And we've got a killer venue, the top floor of the new Library and Heritage Centre. So if you have not attended a workshop up there, just come for that reason alone. And then...
and the content's going to be filmed, Christy.
The content's going to be filmed.
There'll be chances for applicants to not only come along and get the gold, but there'll be an opportunity for them to make sure that gold goes home with them, and they can just keep revisiting the content and not get good at this stuff, but become masterful. And that's what it's all about. Getting good is get masterful. Yeah, get masterful.
Yeah. So thanks so much. We've had a great time with you.
Facebook has just let us know this is your most congratulations. This is your most liked video yet.
Oh, great.
That's thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for the interaction. Thank you so much for bouncing around with us. We're here to serve, and this has given us an opportunity to do that. So we're incredibly thankful to you guys. Much blessings to you. I'll PM you, Kathy, with the link. Jasmine, I'll PM you with the link as well.
Yeah.
And so let's make sure we friend on Facebook. And for everyone else, I'll make sure I put the link in the comments also.
Yeah.
We've gone to a bigger venue. We only had 20 before, but then we had a flood of bookings overnight. We're up to 25.
Yeah.
And so we've gone to a bigger venue that's allowed us to set up 2 more tables. So you'll
Another
all be
6 to 12 tickets
6 to 12 tickets available now.
Yeah.
So you guys will be really well taken care of. And thanks, T. And look, have a fantastic Friday. It's nearly the weekend.
Yeah, it is.
And Christy and I love our weekends with our families and whatnot. We're sure you do too. Much blessings to you. Bye.
See you guys.